Hello, everyone, and welcome to another
Hello,
episode
everyone, and
of
Learn with
welcome
Jason.
to another
Hello,
episode
everyone, and
of
Learn with
welcome
Jason.
to another
Hello,
episode
everyone, and
of
Learn with.
welcome. Whoa.
Oh,
Okay,
that's the beginning.
we're off to a great start here. Also, my scenes
Yes.
didn't load, so let's just refresh this page. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're off to the races. I'm having equipment issues all over the place today. It has been a mess. All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're running a little bit behind schedule today, but that's not going to stop us from having a good time. Today on the show, we have Alexandra Spalato. Alexandra, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us.
Fine. Thanks for having me. I'm super happy to be there. We have rescheduled several times. And
Yes.
finally.
This one has been, I think we might be a full year in the works of getting this episode to actually happen. And I'm so happy to see what you've been working on. I know you've been hard at work building out a whole new company, right? And so
Exactly.
this is going to be a whole lot of fun. But before we start talking about what we're going to do today, let's talk a little bit about you. For folks who aren't familiar with your work, can you give us a little bit of a background?
Okay, so I began with WordPress about 10 years ago, out of the blue, with no coding, and then I get into coding custom theme with WordPress, and I always wanted to build a product. But the WordPress market theme was totally crowded. And after a few years working mostly with clients on custom themes, I jumped into JavaScript and to React. And then I discovered Gatsby. It was about 2 or 3 years ago. And then we begin with Zach Gordon to port the first free themes from WordPress to Gatsby. And by the way, I remember that we were doing them as starters, and somebody on the team, there was Muhammad Machine, say, now there is an API for themes, and there is this LearnWithJason. I think it was one of the first episodes when you were showing the themes API. And from there, yes, we had begin as starters, and we transitioned on the themes API for this first free themes. And so from there, I really continue specializing in headless WordPress and in Jamstack in general, especially in Gatsby. And then I thought it would be nice to have premium themes. Nobody is doing it, and I was dreaming of doing a product. I have also some design skills, so that was perfect. So I talked with Zach was in, but I was needing another developer to work because it's really not easy to begin alone. So, yes. And so I've been very lucky here because it was on Twitter. I remember we posted about this first free WordPress Gatsby theme. And Paulina Hetman, that was a friend from WordPress Paris. And she had a WordPress theme shop already. She tweeted, "Oh, it's nice. I'm doing the same with you, etc." And I said, "Oh my God, that's a perfect person." So I tweeted her, and we called each other, and she was in. Then after that, it was the Gatsby days in London, where I was speaker, and she came there. We passed 2 days together, and the next day we began. It was about the 3 of October, 2 years ago. Yes.
Wow, yeah, time flies, huh?
Yes, time flies. Yes,
it feels like just yesterday when you and I were talking about the idea for this business, and when you were just getting started, and geez, what 250 episodes Learn with Jason later, two plus years of working on this later, you are off to the races. And this is very exciting. I'm super excited to see this grow. So I guess maybe you mentioned something which I think is worth pointing out, which is you said you started out by building starters for Gatsby, and then you pivoted to use the themes API. What's the difference?
Okay, so starter, it's how to say, just files with all the components, but it's not an npm module that can be updated. If you modify it, then you cannot update it. While a theme, it's not like a WordPress theme, because it can be a set of plugins. It can be components that can be used in different places. You can combine several themes together. And if you want to modify your theme, you have to use what is called shadowing. You bring this component and then you modify it in the starter. And you can combine a theme with a starter, and that's what we are doing, because what we have architect, we have a central theme that is only responsible of bringing the data from WordPress, the blog data, because for the moment we have only themes for blogs, but we are going to build other things. For example, we will make a theme for e-commerce, and it will take only the data from WooCommerce, Shopify. And we have then plugins. We have plugins for contact form, for comments, for search, for all these functionalities. Not in the free theme, we have not all these functionalities, but we have the data. Then we have made plugins, for example, that package all the extensions, which is really good, because for users, when we make updates, we update all these packages all together.
Right.
Yes, and in the actual version of themes, not in the free one, but in the other ones, we build another theme on top of the parent theme that is responsible from the data, that bring all the front-end components.
I got
and on top of that, the project. But we realize that passing by shadowing a component to change it, it's complicated. So we made this part as starter. We make it available as starter, but now in the future we have decided we're going to make only as themes this core part that bring functionality, but all these front-end parts finally are better as starters, so people can modify them directly than to get, I want to modify the footer, you have to shadow it, etc. So that things that come, in the practice and you are building things, you realize, okay, that should be better like that or like that. So I hope it's clear.
That's I think a good point, because what you just mentioned is, this isn't something where one use case is like clearly superior to another one. And so I think that, this is a case where when you have shared functionality that is common between sites, that it's not going to change a lot, like pulling data from WordPress or how you handle a contact form submission. That's a great use case for Gatsby Themes. But when you start looking at something that is less consistent, like the way that a site looks, trying to make that into a theme, sometimes you're going to introduce more work than it's worth. So having that as a starter that uses the theme for the common shared stuff is a way for you to say, hey, this is a starting point, but as you modify it, this code is yours. You can continue to modify it. It'll become your site, not a starter site that so I think that's a good call out, that there are different use cases for different things.
Exactly.
And also, Chad, I see
so well.
I see your note about Google Calendar. I apologize. I missed the Google Calendar entry for this one, so we are we're going rogue today. But so we're doing an audit to make sure that Google Calendar is updated for everything going forward. So that's an exciting thing for today. But so, Alexandra, when we're talking about the theme that we're using today, you mentioned that you're doing premium themes, but you just launched a free theme. Is that right?
Yes.
Great. So, what can somebody expect if they go in and they get this free theme? Like what are we setting them up with out of the box here?
Okay, we are setting up a blog with a really nice design. It's as nice as the base theme that is one of the premium themes. Okay. You have all the data for the blog. You have the post. You have the pages. You have pagination. What else? You have share on social media. And what you don't have, what you don't have, you don't have the comment, you don't have the search, you don't have in the premium themes, we have options to have a sidebar, to have widgets like the last post or the categories or things like that. But the free theme, it's really totally usable for somebody who wants to make a blog or a starting point as a developer with a really well structured folders and files.
Okay.
So it's and it's a nice design too. So it's really usable out of the box.
Great.
So,
well, why don't we? I mean, at this, I'm excited because I feel like this is a pain point for a lot of people. They want something nice looking that just lets them start creating. Right? They don't necessarily want to have to design a blog or do like the nitty gritty of coding up a front end. They just want to like get a site out there so they can start to publish. And then evolve it over time, right? And
exactly.
So I'm really excited to see how this works. So why don't we switch over into our pair programming view here?
Yes.
And before we start coding, let me do a quick shout out. We have live captioning for this show, like all shows. We've got Rachel here from White Coat Captioning today making that possible. And that is paid for by our sponsors, Netlify, Fauna, and Auth0, all kicking in to make the show more accessible to more people. If you want those captions, you can find them on the homepage of learnwithjason.dev. And we are talking to Alexandra today, so you can find her on Twitter at AlexaDark. Make sure you go and give her a follow. And we are specifically working with Gatsby WordPress themes here. So here's a link to that site where you can find all of the premium themes as well as the free theme that we are going to use today. So Alexandra, where should I start? What's my step 0 here?
Okay, step 0, you are just on it. You get your feet wet by subscribing, and in a few seconds, you will receive an email with all the instructions.
Okay, so I'm going to do that.
Oh, there is some browsers where it doesn't work. Because I have one of my browser where it doesn't work. So.
Oh, did it give me an error? Oh, something got blocked by client. What browser should I use?
On Chrome it works, on Brave it works. I have one browser named Sidekick that doesn't work. I have to write to them because it's
let me close all this.
It's just a MailChimp form. So
let's see, let's go here.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go.
Okay, so now the mail should arrive. It takes a few seconds to arrive in general. I don't know why.
Okay, so I'm just looking at my email off screen here because
and
no one should see my inbox. It's very anxiety inducing.
Then you will have the WordPress theme because we have a specific WordPress theme to work with, and the demo, and we will install on that, and then download the Gatsby files. Is it there?
I'm looking. Oh, here it is. Okay, I've got it.
Yeah.
So I have a token, so you can see the demo here. So let's start by looking at it. Okay. Oh, this is beautiful.
Okay. We have dark mode too.
So here's our light mode.
Yes. And
it
it's
looks
all
great. Here's our pagination.
It's all done with Tailwind for styling too.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, this looks great. Oh, and you have a review typography.
Yes, review. It's a category. It's posted by category of tags. We have an archive, so everything. Pagination of archive. Pagination is great because doing pagination has always been one of my pet peeves. I don't know why.
Yeah, but this looks really nice. We've got the pagination goes the way we expect. It all does what we're expecting it to do. Okay, so that's good. And then I have a token here for me to use
and you have the link to the doc. So I really send people to the doc to know what to do with the token and everything. But the first step is to install the WordPress site. So we have two universe, the WordPress universe and the Gatsby universe, and you are going to join all that.
Okay. So here is my download.
Yes, this is the demo, and the other one, it's the theme, the headless WP Lite. So now the best way, I think, it's in local, to using local by Flywheel to make a WordPress local install.
Okay.
Or you can make a online install too.
All right, so let's download how.
By the way, that's for development. When people will deploy, of course, they will need to have their website on the hosting live.
I think I need help because I can't, like, this isn't clickable and I don't know where to go.
Oh, I don't remember how I install that.
Let's see. Do I have to get the whole box or? Nope. Okay.
I'm looking on my side. I have it on my computer. Oh, if you have a WordPress hosting somewhere, you can have it there.
Where do I have WordPress hosting? I think I did this on, where was it? There was a site that I used that just like gave me WordPress hosting for like a couple bucks a month.
Yes, there is. I have one. I have a hosting that I use for demos and things like that.
Which one do you use?
It's one in Amionos, but it's in Spanish.
Oh, Spanish. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if I, my Spanish is not that good. Let's see if I can do, why am I drawing a blank? Where the heck did I host it? I had Colby Fayoc on the show and we set up.
Yes. And you had Zach Gordon and a lot of.
Where did we host?
So. But me, I just look, no, it's localwp.com and then you have a button download.
Oh, localwp.com.
Yes.
Oh, weird. They don't link to that from the.
Yes, I don't know.
Okay.
Download for free. Yes.
Jeez. Okay, we're getting there. This is going great. Okay. See if I can spell my own email right. I'm not going to put that in. Is it going to let me? Okay, it's gone. All right. So I'm going to get local by. Do I already have this? No, I don't. Okay. So we're going to get local. And so I'm going to install that. Is it doing a thing? There it goes. All right. So I'm going to close that, open up local. And sure. Yeah, I'll send you errors. Okay, so
I don't know if you need that.
Unlock more tools. I'm not going to need any of that today, so I can do that later.
Okay, create a new site.
Okay, here we go. Okay.
Okay, continue. Yes, preferred.
Preferred.
Yes, okay. No. And what username and password?
Probably just do it like this so that it doesn't send me things. Do I need to worry about any of the advanced stuff?
No.
It is not.
No, it's okay.
Okay. And so this is creating a whole service right on my computer.
Yes.
Oops. Okay. So we got this going, downloading WordPress. Here we go. This is pretty snazzy. Looks nice. And I can see some settings in the background here that are cool. Like I can see we can choose our web server, PHP version. It's got a database. Yeah, this is all really cool.
Yes, no, it's very practical. And now we go to admin.
Okay. Oh, nice. That happened fast. All right.
Yes.
Oh no, I screwed it up.
We have everything in the doc to.
Okay, so something is wrong. Let me turn off this redirect because I think I'm in a loop there. So let me go. What happened here? I guess I can reset my password. And I'm just going to watch for that to show up. Did I typo this? Like what? Oh, this is weird. Okay, so when I put in my correct password.
Okay.
What the heck was that? Okay, so maybe it just wasn't ready yet. Because it was in a loop, not a missed password. Okay, so here we go. We're in.
Okay, I think the best way, because it's what the user are going to see, it's going to the doc. So if we go to the website and in the menu, we have the doc, because we have really make a step-by-step doc, including that we can have people that are not developers, so we are really explain everything. So we go to setting up WordPress.
Okay.
And go down. So it explains that we have this WPGraphQL backup. And so we need now this plugin, install and activate all in one WP migration plugin.
Okay. So I'm going to go to here. Go to plugins.
Yes. And you just tap all and generally it appears first. Yes.
This one? Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Activated it.
Yes. And now.
Okay. So we can import from file. So I need to unzip this this one, I assume?
No, you don't need to. Yes. I don't know if you. No, you don't need to unzip it.
I don't need to unzip it. Okay. Great.
Wait. You have to have an end with WPGraphQL. So. I don't know. There is a theme. The theme, you don't need it because we are going to import everything and the theme would be inside. Just look for a file with WPGraphQL, and if it's not there, you unzip.
Okay, so I don't. Oh, this one here.
Yes, this one.
Okay, so we can go straight to there. Let me go to the.
On the left, you have the here import.
Import. There it is. Yes. I'm going to take this one right in.
Exactly.
Overwrite your website, that's fine. Okay. And so now, okay, and it changed my password, right? So
yes.
This is...
Admin, it's in the doc. You have admin and Gatsby WP Themes.
Right, okay, so I'm going to log in. And I'll change that later because we're not going to put this live yet. So... Okay, now we've got, here we go.
So we're good with the WordPress part. So now we can go to the Gatsby part.
Wait, that's the whole WordPress part?
Yes.
Wow. All right. Okay, that was easy. Great.
Then after we can configure things.
Sure.
We want the blog or the homepage. We will see that after. But now we are good to go and to have this beautiful blog. So now we go to the setting up Gatsby site. And installing Gatsby starter first.
Okay.
Yes, set up what? Everything is explained for the folks who are not developers and need to install everything on their computer. So everything is there too. We don't need that, I think. But now we are going to install the starter. So if you have downloaded the starter.
I have downloaded the starter. It is...
Yes. The documentation is for the premium and everything. We have to put some differentiation so people don't go on the premium parts, but the doc is for all the themes.
Gotcha.
So now, yes, you need to unzip the starter Lite and then open it in VS Code.
Okay, so I'm going to move this. So let me open up a new window here, and we're going to go into GitHub, LearnWithJason, and let's call this LearnWithJason Gatsby WP Themes. And then I'm going to copy all of this. Actually, I better do it this way. Let me, so I don't miss any hidden folders. I'm just going to drag the whole thing in here, replace that folder. And now we've got that. Okay, great. So then in here, we can open this up. Okay, so here is our site.
Okay, so now the first thing we need is to install the node modules, and that includes the themes and all that. So for that, now if you tap yarn, it will not work now. Or no, it will not work because we need the token, the famous token that you are in the email. And so if you go to the doc, we need to add your token to your startup shell file, or you can just, to make it simple, type gwpt auth token equal your token, and then you can go with yarn or npm install.
Okay. So I'll do this off screen so that I don't share that token. And then I'm running npm install.
Yes.
Let's see, unable to resolve dependency tree.
Oh, so have you, wait.
Do I need to have a, looks like we're trying to use 16.8 and 1702 here.
This is a plugin. I use dark mode. For me, I never had this problem. So.
Let's see, I might need to do the legacy peer deps thing. So let me head over here and run it again with the legacy peer deps. I think what's happening is it's in more recent versions of npm, it like just hard fails if you have incompatible peer dependencies. Whereas before it would just print a bunch of warnings and ignore it.
Okay, I use yarn all the time. So
gotcha. Okay, so that also could be a problem.
Yes, because in development we have with the theme we have the workspace, and so we always use yarn, and then project I use yarn too. But normally npm should work. If you type
it is working now. Let me pull this back over. It's doing the thing now. So it just needed that legacy peer deps to make sure that it didn't choke on those mismatched React versions.
Okay, so it takes time to install all the modules. So while it's installing, what we can do, it's having the environment variables. So we go to the end sample.
Okay.
And we replace the Gatsby WP URL by our URL from local by Flywheel.
Okay, and that was here.
Yep, this one.
And do I need to include like the WP admin or anything, or does it pick that up?
No, just that. Just uncomment that. Gatsby seat URL, we don't need it for the moment because we don't have a live website. So just uncomment this one and rename the env sample to env.
Okay, there we go.
Yes, but you have not put the URL.
So it is there. I have this weird. I have this plugin that I've apparently.
What is this plugin?
It's called Cloak, but I can't seem to uninstall it. And so I tried to disable it because we were doing some stuff that was visible, and it just won't turn off. So at some point I'm going to debug that, but for now, I'm just going to leave it alone. So.
Okay. So where are the node modules? Are there?
Getting there.
Okay. So once they are there, we just type Gatsby develop and we're good.
Okay. And this is, all right, so I can npm run dev because I don't have the global Gatsby CLI.
Well, dev, it's you clean the cache at the same time, but well, we have not built anything, and develop, we just have a normal Gatsby develop.
This is funny. Maybe now's a good time to get up and stretch. And is this using like WPGraphQL under the hood? I saw a question in
yes,
chat about
of course,
that.
It's using WPGraphQL, WP Gatsby. That all these plugins are installed when we install this demo. It installs our theme, it installs the necessary plugins and everything. So plus the demo data.
Nice.
If you go to the URL, you will see all the plugins.
Which
on WordPress? On WordPress. Oh, you like it's you go the.
I see. Yeah.
You see, okay. So, oh yes, we have the SEO plugin too. That is in the free theme. I explained that after. So I think now we can go to localhost 8000 and we have a beautiful blog.
Localhost 8000. There it is. Hey.
There.
Beautiful. And this one is hooked up on ours. So if I go into this hello world and we want to change that, I can go to posts, edit, and we can say hello chat, update. Yes. And then does this like hot reload, or do I need to stop and restart it to pick that up?
No, you don't need to restart the engine, but yes, it's good now. Look.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even have to refresh the page. It just worked.
Yes.
Cool.
And also we have adapted to make it work with Gutenberg, but only with the core features of Gutenberg. So if you want to build a gallery, columns, or everything with Gutenberg, you can do it, but it's not with other Gutenberg plugins. We have also code, with Prism.
Yeah. So this is the Prism JS plugin.
Yes. So that's included.
Nice.
That's included in the free one. And now we can do many things. We can do things in WordPress. For example, we can choose to have a home page instead of a blog at the first page and build a home page.
And this will all just work, right? Like, so if I go in and I go to my pages, we've got this typography page. Let's add a new one.
Yes, I don't know if you have to reload for that. We are going to see. I don't remember. So
okay.
Just publish something.
Okay. So we'll have to come back and link that once we figure out where the blog is going to live, but I'm going to publish this site. And then if I remember correctly, I need to change some settings to make that turn to the homepage.
You have to go to settings and reading. Okay. And yes, static page and home. And post page, yes, you have to get.
Do I need to go? Do I need to go make one?
Create a blog page. Yes, we will have to restart if we have changed the configuration. You have to save here first. But yes,
let me create a post page.
Yes.
All right.
Publish.
So then I'm going to go back out here. We're going to go to settings, reading, and then now I can change this to be home.
home,
and blog.
Then we can change the number of posts per page, so we can see the pagination, because now there is 10. So if you put 3 posts, for example, and save changes.
All right, then I can go back out to my page here, and on the home page, I want to link.
Make a gallery, for example, or...
And I can link to my blog.
Yes.
That's a really nice, like, this is something that I think WordPress really excels at, is this kind of connectedness of content, and not having to I don't need to know what the automatically generated URL of the blog is. I can just come in here and say I want a link, and then search for it. And it works. I feel like that's something that's done really well for by the WordPress.
Yes, that's because now you have to restart the engine.
Restart entirely. Oh wait, did it just work? I didn't. It just worked.
Oh yes, but I don't think you have the home. Oh yes, it worked. Oh, we don't have
Look
to
at
restart.
It go.
So great.
That is so, I will say it's been a while since I have been on Gatsby. I haven't been using it, and that is a good upgrade. Great job to the Gatsby team on making that just work, because definitely did not used to do that.
No, it's running on Gatsby 4 now.
That's great.
I have not included server-side things, but it's running on Gatsby 4, and everything's perfect. It's on 100. Everything. It's really great.
Yeah. So there's a question in the chat about what we're using here. Is the all-in-one WordPress migration that we installed, did that install a theme, or is it just installing plugins, or like what happened under the hood with that?
This plugin, it's for me the most handy plugin to make backups and restore backups. So what we have done, if we have built this demo with all the necessary plugins, all the data to make it look nice. And if you go to the all-in-one WP migration, you have also on export features. You can export, and we have downloaded that and provided just an import-export and backup plugin. But it works just super well and super easy. So we can even just import the database, for example. I have an unlimited version, that so I can import, export big websites too. But it's really a good plugin. So yes, and so it install everything: the plugins, the database, the images, the posts, the pages.
Great.
And then this is our this is the theme we are using. That has just a necessary thing for that. In the premium version, there is more things. There is widgets. There is option to have a sidebar to the left, to the right, to have the last post and things like that. But here it's really streamlined. It can work with any WordPress theme, but it's better to use this one, perhaps for the name of the menus and things like that. But I think if you use 2021 or whatever, it will work. So
okay, great.
But yes, here we have Yoast, we have WPGraphQL SEO, because we have a SEO component. The code syntax block to have code blocks into Gutenberg, WP Gatsby, WP GraphQL, and we're good.
That's nice. So not a lot required on the WordPress side. It's a lot of kind of what you've done is taken away some boilerplate work, but there's not magic here. We're installing the required plugins. We're making sure those are configured properly. And if I, as a developer, wanted to use your theme without installing this WordPress backup, I would just have to install these plugins.
Yes, totally. It can be very useful for people who have already their blog and they wanted to pass it on Gatsby, so they just have to install these plugins, and they obviously don't want the demo. They can install our theme also, that it's our WordPress theme that is in the downloads, and then they can just connect and have their blog running on Gatsby immediately.
Great. Okay, so we're making killer time here, where we've effectively built this site, and now there's something that I think is kind of interesting here. And before I talk about this, let me ask: is there anything that you definitely want to make sure we cover before I start off on a rabbit hole?
I think that's all, and everything is in the doc. We have really take care of the doc to make it very clear, because obviously more of our users are developers, but it can be also for people who are not developers or just WordPress implementers, or people who have never used Gatsby or JavaScript or whatever. So we try to make it sure that it can be usable by anybody. Of course, they have to install Node.js, they have to install Gatsby and all these things, but even a non-coder, if it's smart enough to follow step by step the documentation and not be afraid by writing in the console and things like that, it can do it. So it's for developers. I think it's quite easy to get it.
So here's something that I think is really exciting about this approach, and this is where I think the Jamstack value started to really sink in for me, is how much of a security and cost control measure the Jamstack can be. And so there are a couple things to note here. The first is, this blog is not running on WordPress. These are two separate instances, right?
Yes.
So this WordPress instance is running locally. That's the .local happening there. And this is also running locally. We're just using localhost this time. But I don't need the WordPress site to be deployed. I can actually like build the site and send it up to Netlify or whatever for hosting, and never actually need to make the WordPress site accessible from the internet. Now, granted, that's gonna, the comments won't work, and anything where you would write to WordPress clearly is not gonna work. But if I'm a developer and I want to write my blog and I'm not going to turn on comments, I can theoretically only have WordPress running locally. So I never have to figure out, where am I going to host this thing? What do I have to pay to host my WordPress blog? There are a lot of caveats that come with that, but it's exciting to me because the WordPress instance can be completely disabled, but the site itself is still live.
And one thing, because I was at this podcast with Matt Medeiros that ran a podcast about WordPress entrepreneurs, and he's not a developer, and the things that hook him, I say, okay, you can have your WordPress site down, but your Gatsby, your front end is live. I say, oh yes, that I want that. That's what talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes such a big impact. And when you talk about things like the security of WordPress, like WordPress security has gotten better, but WordPress is also one of the biggest targets for hacks and people trying to brute force passwords and different things like that, because it runs so much of the internet. It's what, 40% of the internet now is powered by WordPress. That's wild to think about. And granted, when you have a unified login system, people are going to try to find vulnerabilities so that they can go take over websites. So you hear about WordPress sites getting hacked a lot. If you use this Jamstack approach, your WordPress site is decoupled from the front end of your website, which means people won't actually be able to hit WP admin from your site, which cuts off a huge brute force like robo hack vector and helps you just kind of immediately avoid one of the bigger problems, which is people sending out robots to sniff around and see if they can find your WP admin page and then try to like brute force attack it. And they see if they can get in with default logins, and they see if they can find ways around your security. If the WordPress site isn't accessible at your published domain, the sniffers won't be able to do that. You can keep it at some private domain or secret domain that somebody would just have to know. And that's the only place that you can edit your site. And then your public site is not accessible as a WordPress site. It's only this Gatsby deployed front end. And that's a huge benefit from a security standpoint, without having to learn much about security or locking down WordPress or any of those things. Granted, you should figure out how to lock down WordPress, but So, okay, what else should we look at here? Like, should we try to just build this locally and take it live, or how do you what do you think we should do with our remaining time?
I think we should do in the files and see how we structure it and what we can do. We can change the fonts, we can style it, we can build custom things, and yes.
Absolutely, let's do it. So I'm gonna take this. Let's put these side by side. I'm ready. Let's mess with this blog.
Okay, so we could change the fonts, for example.
Okay.
So for that, we go to config. Config.js. It's not in source. It's where we put our options. So on the premium theme, and you can see you have fonts Google and here. So we can choose some fonts on Google Fonts and change it. So here we have the headers and body.
Okay, so let's change it to something very obvious. Let's use comforter brush.
I have tried that the other day just to prepare the show. I have tried this one. Okay, and now so now we have to change that also in the Tailwind config.
Okay.
So
here's Tailwind.
Yes. So in the fonts, on family. So yes, you change. I don't know which one you have changed it. It was for the heading. Yes. Okay. So now we save that. For that, we have, as we have changed something in the config, we have to restart. This time we have really to restart to make develop again.
Okay.
We should have make develop because now we are cleaning the cache. We don't need to clean the cache, but it's a small site. It's a small site. It's okay. It goes fast. So in this Tailwind config also, I have put all the colors so we can change the colors. And what I have done, I have named each part of the blog. So for example, header background, header color, or I don't remember all. So we can really go in the colors and you see header, footer, everything. And we have the dark and light part. So we make it easy for people if they want to change the colors of every part. It's really organized to make it easy and consistent. And at the top, I have made a color palette, so you can go crazy.
Oh yeah, and then we've got polished here so that we can mess with the colors. Yes. That's always nice. And then let's see.
If you change the primary color, you're going to change everything. Not pink, yes.
Okay, so this should kind of update on the fly. Gonna take that out for now so that we don't do that again. Let's see here. Okay, so while we're waiting for this to build, chat, how many of you have worked with headless WordPress? Like, how many of you have actually tried it? And if so, what was your experience with it? How have you liked working with headless WordPress? And then Alexandra, for you, have you worked with other headless CMSs?
Not really, but I want. Actually, we are planning to expand the platform, the theme to other platforms because we realize there is not a lot of themes or premium themes available. So making this concept of the central core themes that get the data, I think we will be able to plug in, the starters with also design quite easily. So, for example, we are thinking about Strappy, Contentful. I have tried Contentful, but I have not big projects. And we will see which one make more sense. But I think Strappy and Contentful are a lot of used. The other day, I've seen a video about a thing named Red Bricks. I don't know if you have seen that, but it seems really, really great. Basically, you can build components that you make a builder and you develop for the admin and for the front end at the same time. And you can use it with Next, Gatsby, and I want to try it. It seems
nice.
It seems really, really great. Red Bricks.
That's cool.
There is so many. I want to try them all, but I don't have time.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I feel the same. I mean, I was mentioning earlier, like we've done 250 episodes of this show, and I still feel like I haven't even scratched the surface of all the things that I want to learn and try. Yes. And so, you know, we
will never end. We will never end.
Yeah. I mean, by the time and then there's the other part, which is, you know, by the time we get 3 months from now, a bunch of the things that we've learned before, they've all had improvements and more things that I want to try. So I spend a lot of time, I spend a lot of time reminding myself that, you know, our goal as web developers is not to know every tool. It's to find ways to connect people to solutions. And there are lots and lots and lots of ways to solve problems. So it's not about finding the best tool. It's about finding the one that, you know, solves the right problem in the right length of time. Not about like doing, you can't drink the whole ocean, right? You can't.
No. It's I see questions if there will be Gatsby WooCommerce. That's our next step to work on e-commerce, and not only WooCommerce but Shopify, BigCommerce, and so making a theme for e-commerce as soon as we have time. And then, yes, I don't see the attraction of using headless WordPress. It's just so content editors are familiar. Yes, it's basically joining both worlds, the world of the editors that love WordPress, and it's 40% of the web. So many people who have already their content on WordPress or their team working on WordPress. So it makes the transition to Jamstack easier. But for other cases, other platform at Finance, that's why we want to expand to Strapi, Contentful, and others. So,
yeah, I mean, the thing that seems interesting to me is that, you know, the like we did the Jamstack survey and we had thousands of developers weighed in, and what we found was that developers who used WordPress, like many developers have worked with WordPress at some point. And their satisfaction with using WordPress was low. But when they used headless WordPress, their satisfaction was high. And so I think that what I find exciting about WordPress is that when you use it as a headless CMS, it's one of the more full-featured headless CMSs available because it's such a mature content management system. And if you leave behind its opinions about front end, and instead steer into the what it's good at, which is content management and not website creation, and then use a modern stack to build your websites with WordPress powering them as the headless layer. It's a much different, much more pleasant experience that I think is really, you know, it's really powerful and really fun. Okay, so I got the site did build. It looks like it hung there for a minute,
but beautiful font.
Look at this thing go. So
and you see the buttons have changed. We have the hot pink as primary color now. So
yeah, I mean, you can see like this is pretty slick too, because look, it even like incorporated it into these gradients, and
it seems Chinese Asian font.
This font is really hard to read though. So
yes.
maybe we want to switch it out to something else. Let's go to actually, you know what? I'm not, because
I have a really nice website to finding fonts, and it's built by Paulina, my
what's
fellow developer. It's named GooFonts, GOOFONTS. I don't know if it's .com. I think she yes.
There we go.
And so they have tagged all the fonts, and so now you can, on the right, you have these tags, and
this is
you
fun.
can choose. Yes.
Let's go with medieval.
Yeah.
That's fun. Okay, let's go. How about signature? That's too hard to read. Let's go with movie.
That's nice.
Oh, that looks pretty good. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This one I was using the Bowman's. So
yeah, let's go with audio wide.
Show more, and then it will open on Google Fonts, I think. Yes.
Oh wow! Yeah.
Yes, and see on Google Fonts. So
that's great. No, this is super useful. Okay, so yeah, this is super useful. Let's go back out here. We'll go into the config, and we'll swap out for audio wide, and then here we will also swap out for audio wide, and I will stop and restart.
Yes, without cleaning the cache.
Without cleaning the cache this time. Oops, what are you doing? There we go. So no cleaning the cache, just running Gatsby develop. Should be nice and snappy. Yeah, much faster.
Yes.
Here we go. It's doing the thing. People running Contentful Gatsby. How well is the built-in WordPress SEO toolset integrated when running headless? That's a good question. How does Yoast SEO work in headless mode?
Yes, so there is a plugin named WPGraphQL Yoast that is installed, and on top of that, we have built a plugin, a Gatsby plugin that integrated it. And so if we go in the files, you will see that we have this plugin, and it brings all the Twitter image, the schema, and all this stuff out of the box, basically. So
I think
yes, I think the uppercase was not a good idea.
Oh no. Okay. All right. We're gonna fix it. Here and here and here.
But you have to restart. Yes.
And it's gonna be fast.
In between, we can look at the SEO in the files.
Yeah, let's do it. We're in the files. I'm going to here, and I'm somewhere in here.
Yes, go to components.
Components.
I'm going to explain all this. Components, templates.
Templates.
So if you go to page, you see we have this SEO. The SEO component that is there that we import for Gatsby WP theme plugin SEO. And you see we have everything here. And if you go to the page, you will see that we have all the SEO. Basically, people, that's a great advantage on WordPress, because that's a question I asked to myself. Okay, if I want to transition to another platform, I will not have the easiness to have Yoast. People can enter the data and everything on Yoast, and it's done automatically. So for doing the SEO on another platform, I have to create everything from scratch. So that's one of the biggest advantage. Nice.
Yeah, so we got our font is working, and I can see here. Here's all this. All the open graph tags and the SEO work that needed to be done.
And here's the schema.
Yeah, too. And like even this bit, the JSON LD for like Google structured data, or what is schema.org? Is that where it's all defined? I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Here it is, schema.org. And this is all stuff that will, like, when you see in a Google search result how it'll show the navigation, or it shows upcoming events, or like these rich results, that's typically getting pulled out of data like this, which is really nice. So all of this is coming in now. Is this what Yoast is inserting?
Yes, Yoast is bringing this data. This data is taken by the plugin WPGraphQL Yoast, so it is exposed to GraphQL, and we have built this plugin to make it available, in the right place and well done out of the box for people using the themes. Because if you have to include that, the Twitter image, etc., it takes time, and with this component, it's done.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Useful.
Yes. That's definitely one of those things that like it's always on my list. I want to go fix it. I've got a lot of things that I need to go take care of, and I just don't have the time to like really do a good job. So I like copy paste over an open graph image thing so that it works when I share on Twitter. And then I'm like, I'll come back and do this structured data later. And then I usually don't.
And what happened, it's first we had this plugin, but we didn't include the schema. And as I was working on a project, because I use that as base for my project, even if they are totally custom, it saved me a lot of time to have the theme in it. And the client was needing the schema, so we included it inside the plugin. So now it's available for
really nice
for all our themes. So yes,
yeah. So this looks great. And so we were starting to do a little bit of a code tour here, where we're inside the page here. I can see we've got templates for categories, pages, posts.
Go up first. First, I think I can explain. Yes, you got this folder Gatsby WP Themes.
Yes.
In source, and here is the shadowing of the of this core plugin, this data plugin, because the data theme, if you install it alone, it will just display JSON. And here we are putting our components in it to put the meat, the good looking around this data. And we have the fragments too, because we had, for example, we changed the format of the image in the fragment, and we had this fragment inside our post. And so this is shadowing. We are bringing the components from the Gatsby theme blog data Lite to change it and bring the front end.
And so to make sure that I'm understanding correctly, let's just step through how this works. So what this starter does is it installs the Gatsby WP Themes Gatsby theme blog data Lite.
Yes.
When I install that, it has these components and a lot more that's not referenced here.
Yes, that's the shadowing. That's the components from the Gatsby 10 blog data. And we need to shadow them, because if not, they will display only data, only JSON.
So the way that the Gatsby, like Gatsby's theming under the hood works is it installs this theme, which means that it will treat the components of the theme as if they're built into the site. And then if we create a source folder with the name of the theme package, which in this case is the node package that's installed, then we can go into the source directory and just replace something. So inside of Gatsby WP Themes, Gatsby theme blog data Lite, in the source directory, there is a components page.js. Because we've created this page, Gatsby is saying, okay, when I load this theme, I'm just going to replace the page.js file in this theme with this replaced file. And because we've done that, now we can pull in the page that we wrote down here in components, in templates.
Exactly.
And we get the data that came out of the theme, but we can pass it into our custom code. And this right here is like the strength of Gatsby Themes. We didn't have to rewrite all of this code that gets the data, and the theme doesn't need to care what this component is, but we're able to use them together in a really seamless way. And if we update this theme, right, as long as these two props don't change, we don't have to care. Like, we don't have to do manual migrations of code, which we would have had to do in a starter. So yeah, this is really exciting. So what do you have, like, what else do you want to, is there anything else you want to show in the theme?
Yes, so the page, and then we have post, and then all is organized. You see, in archive, we have all about the blog, in post, all about the post. It's really well organized, so people can find and modify things. And I hope it's well organized for me. So,
yeah, and I'm looking in here. We can see here's the tailwind styling, so that we can drop in and make changes without having to learn a custom styling system. So that's portable. That's nice. As we jump in, like each of these things looks to be pretty like fairly straightforward. Like, you know, we've got a title and then we've got a description. And so we can go and swap out any one of these things.
And in the index, we have all the components.
They all get put together, and these are conditional on it having a name and a description. That's really nice. Here's our post list. Good.
Pagination.
Yeah. Header and footer. So we can just go in and look and see, you know, we've got a nicely styled header up here. Put our branding in.
And so
that's
yes,
go ahead.
Yes, a mobile menu.
Nice. And then we've got this is the mobile menu.
These are headless UI for that.
Is this dynamically generated from
yes,
the WordPress menu
yes,
as
yes,
well?
Yes, totally.
Slick. So if I go back and look in here and I look at is it appearance menus?
Yes, appearance menus.
Okay. Then this is what's showing up on the site, and if I change this, it'll change.
Yes, you can try.
That's really slick. Okay, so let's do it. So I'm gonna make a new page, which I will do by.
Or you can create a custom link if you don't want a page. Or
am I missing the thing where I get to just create a new one? What am I doing wrong?
No, you cannot create a custom new page from there, but you can create a custom link.
Oh, it's over here. Jeez. Okay,
yes.
I was like looking right at it. I was gonna just link to our.
Oh yes, you can. Well, you can link one of the posts.
Yeah, let's link to one of the posts. So we'll this is an experiment, so let's experiment. So if I save this and save our menu, then what we should see out here is that this will update here in a second. There it goes.
Yes.
Here's the experiment, and it links right to it. So that is also very slick because when you showed me, if you showed me like here's a mobile menu and here's a top nav and things like that, I'm like, oh, I don't want to update all those files every time the nav changes.
Yes.
But knowing that it's centrally managed makes me less nervous about it, which is really slick. Yeah, I mean this. So here's what I like about this. This is with very low effort. We had to write zero code. We were able to come in, get a site set up. We've got editing capabilities. We were able to change the homepage. We were able to set up a custom blog page. We were able to mess with the nav. And we were able to come in and play with typography as well. This is kind of the dream when you're talking about like, people are saying, hey, I really wish I had a blog. And then they'll spend weeks or months trying to build the blog and none of the time writing. And it's like, oh man, you've got all that energy for blogging. Like just blog, get out there and create the thing. Don't worry too much about like making the blog perfect. You can make it better over time, but first get into the habit of writing.
Yes.
And I love that you've just kind of removed the barrier to entry here. You can just start writing.
And even code preamps.js is there, so you can have code snippets and they look good. So
yeah, we've got those code highlighting snippets here. Shows the language, which is really nice. Yeah, there's a lot to like in here. So what else should people look at here? We've got the starter. And it sounds like you've got a whole bunch of premium themes. Are there? Here are the demos, I assume.
Yes. So we have two. Basically, the Ginger is the same theme, or we will call it the same starter because we will do it as starters, and we have different variants. So there are 3: Ginger, Kitchen. So we have done these pages with Gutenberg. In the future, for more advanced theme, we are going to use advanced custom field and include it because it's more handy than Gutenberg for the moment. We have a Lightbox plugin. If you click on the image, they will open in Lightbox too.
Oh, nice.
So basically, yes, and that's done with Gutenberg in the editor, so you can make these galleries and and they look like that out of the box. So this is no coding. This is just in the WordPress editor.
Nice.
And this one, the base theme, is basically the same design as the free one, but with all this option for comments, sidebar, search. So this one, for example. So I have the base starter and base gradient. It's the same theme with two different variants in terms of design. So
you get your
the simplest one. I build it to make something nice but simple that you can build on it.
Yeah. I mean, this is nice because it again, I can see very quickly need to get a business set up for or a website set up for a business. This puts you miles ahead of just like opening a blank screen. And that's really nice. So and it's something that you can hand off to a client, because people tend to, if you're a business owner, there's a really decent chance that you have used WordPress and that it's not terrifying to you, which is less the case when you are trying to hand off something more advanced, something that involves code, or if you're trying to get somebody to write Markdown or things, there's a lot of things that can make that an intimidating process for a client or for somebody who's not comfortable with development. And then the other thing that's kind of interesting here too is that when you're dealing with a template like this, a lot of times you're trying to get something up online, and figuring out the hosting for some of the headless CMSs can be challenging if they're self-hosted. WordPress has hosted options. It has one-click deploys. It's got super locked down things that, we're using Flywheel. WP Engine has a completely like one-click deploy of WordPress for it's relatively cheap. I don't know what their monthly is now.
$25 or 23 euros, I think, in Europe, but in the 20s. So it's really, and as it's headless, we don't need an expensive hosting.
You don't have to pay for the ultra high performance CDN or the ultra high bandwidth or extra servers, because the people who hit your website aren't hitting WordPress. They're hitting your site that would be hosted on, you can deploy this to Netlify or Cloudflare or whatever platform you want, and you get the CDN, and you don't have to, like, WordPress doesn't have to handle that load, because Jamstack hosts are kind of built for load. They're going to scale for you. So yeah, this is pretty powerful stuff. I'm excited to see what you've been working on here. This is it's very powerful. It looks like you're doing some really cool stuff. Is there anywhere else that you want people to go if they want more resources?
We are going to do more resources, because what happens is we have launched on the 30th of June, a date just at the beginning of the summer. So, and after that, we have been overwhelmed with other personal work with clients and all that, because for the moment we have to run everything together. But now we are going to build a lot of more things. So e-commerce, other platforms, other themes, for, I don't know, portfolio, agency, cooking, all the common things that you can find in themes there to build. So we are planning to do that, of course. I think we will use advanced custom fields and so many things to do. So, and yes, also, we are planning to make video tutorials, written and video. Paulina will do the writing part and I will do the video. And perhaps I was thinking of doing a live show every week with office hours or Ask Me Anything.
Cool.
Yes, I'm thinking about that. I think it would be really cool, because
should people follow you on Twitter to get those updates, or where should somebody go to see when those go live?
So on subscribing, first we will send it on subscribe, we will put it on Twitter, and also we have this support. It's support and community. We build it on a platform named Circle, which is super nice. And so they can subscribe here too.
Okay.
But first, yes, subscribing to the site and subscribing here, and we will send the info. We have a lot to do, but as soon as possible, I want to put that in place.
Great. Well, I think you've done a lot of cool stuff here. This theme is very this is a great theme. It was easy to customize. I think it gives us a lot of opportunities to build and expand and make it our own. So I'm excited to see how you continue to grow and develop the business.
Yes, I hope that because one thing I have understood, we launched that, then I had a lot of work with clients, and really what I want now is pass most of my time developing that. So as much as I can. That's yes, having a product is really nice. So I really hope to grow it. Yes, that's the idea.
Great. Well, so everybody in chat, you've got a list of links to go and check out. And this episode, as all episodes, was live captioned by Rachel. She's here from White Coat Captioning. Thank you very much, Rachel, for being here. And that's made possible through the support of our sponsors, Netlify, Fauna, and Auth0, all of whom are kicking in to make the show more accessible to more people, which I really appreciate. While you are clicking things on the site, make sure you head over and check out the schedule, because we got a lot of good stuff coming up. There is no Thursday episode this week because it is Thanksgiving in the United States. I'm going to be eating food instead of live streaming. But we're coming up next week. Ryan Carniato is going to come and teach us about Solid.js. Solid.js is an exciting framework. I'm pretty excited about this one because it does things differently. It's kind of getting into reactivity without a virtual DOM, and I think that is I'm very interested to see how that goes. We're going to get into building our own design system. We've got George coming on, and then we're going to look at distributed databases on the Jamstack, and that's just next week. So make sure you get subscribed, and you can do that through Google Calendar. You can do that by following on Twitch, or you can always find me on YouTube if you want to watch the replays. With that being said, I think we're going to call this one good. Alexandra, any parting words for the chat?
It was super nice to be there, and time has been flying. So
it really has.
Done it, and perhaps I will come back with the e-commerce next time.
Great. Well, it was super fun to have you. Thank you all for watching, and we're going to go find somebody to raid. We will see you next time.